Hello, I'm Randy Mecham. I'm an alcoholic. I have been sober for 30 years, but I will tell you how I got to be an alcoholic. I enjoyed music a whole bunch, and I played music, and my dad, he was an alcoholic, and we had a band, and we had quite a few get-togethers for drinking. And so sooner or later, it wasn't just weekend dances, it was every day. And I had a good buddy that I grew up with, and he wasn't an alcoholic. And he decided he was gonna get me sober. So he followed me everywhere. He was there day and night, and finally I got so tired of seeing him. I decided I would go in to Provo for a time just to change the scenery. And I was sure that it wouldn't do any good. I'd tried a few thousand times to quit on my own, and I didn't think there was any way to quit and stay quit. Every time I got feeling better, I would decide to go back to drinking. Anyway, while I was in Provo, I didn't want to cause trouble, and I knew the DTs would really make a mess because they had in the past. So I stayed awake all night, and finally I got a Book of Mormon down off a shelf and started reading it. And I would read a while, and then it'd come in good, and then it would quit. And it'd make me mad enough to go back to drinking. And then I would pray a little, and it'd come in longer. And so I got to where I was reading a lot of Book of Mormon and doing quite a bit of praying, and that would make it come in further. But the first day I was there, they had me see this doctor, and he said, don't take any medication till you see a liver specialist. And so they sent me to a specialist. And he says, this doctor that told you you might have problems just felt your stomach and whatever. I said, yes. And he said, I can't believe it. But he sure knew what he was talking about. He says, you're right here. I says, what is right here? He says, your cirrhosis is so high, you will either live or you will die. And I have no idea what it will be. And so he said, come back in 30 days. I knew that I was in bad shape before I got there. but the hair on my arms would hurt. Believe it or not, I'd never heard of such a thing. And I knew a lot of alcoholics and seen a lot of sick people. But I was looking at the other alcoholics there, and I figured I was the only real alcoholic there because all the others were just kids. Until I started seeing them have DTs also. Anyway, the guy over the deal in Spanish Fork would check on each one individually. He says, "How you doing, Brother Mecham?" And I says, "Terrible, I haven't slept in 6 days." He says, "Why haven't you been sleeping?" I says, "If I see the DTs that I seen when I run out of whiskey before, I will wake up everybody in here and they'll know I'm crazy." He says, "You've been leaving your light on and reading all night?" And I says, "Yes." He started grinning at me. He says, "What makes you think that ETs just come at night?" I never thought about it at all before because that was when they would show up, was at night. There was a flood in the river where I was working. I couldn't get to the liquor store. And for 3 days, I seen weird things. The first was a 50-foot tall black Labrador. And I told the guy in the motorhome with me that I was gonna get the gun and flashlight and go kill that black Labrador. I stepped out of the motorhome thinking how easy that black Labrador would be to track because it's 50 foot tall. And I thought, hey, Randy, if he's 50 foot tall, how did he get in the motorhome? And then I started coming around and wondering what was going on. And the next day and the next night I seen Indians 50 feet tall, and they would bend way over and look through the back window of the motorhome. That's where my bed was. And so by the time the river went down to where I could get out through the crossings, I was really worried about myself. I knew it wasn't just one big party. So when I did go into AA, it was mostly my friend's fault. I thought I'd do it for him because I had tried again real hard to quit drinking, and it didn't work. And so I went in there and I had to have 30 some packs of cigarettes so I would be sure and not run out. And when I got in there, everybody in every one smoked, and they had a vending machine in every end of the building. And I cut down 2 packs a day because the air was just blue black with smoke. And anyway, I stayed for 60 days and come home. And I sitting in here in my chair, and I looked in my ashtray was missing. And I went to holler at my wife, "Where is my ashtray?" And that's an excuse to go get another beer. But I never said a word. I just went, got in the truck and went back up to the facility for another month, because I knew, although I thought for sure I had beat AA, I let myself think of an excuse to go get a drink. I knew I didn't have it made yet. So I will tell anybody that's trying to quit for more than just to get over being sick, they gotta do some serious thinking. There's so many come and go, in and out. While I was there, they'd get out and have a party for them and celebrate them being dry, and before I was out, they'd be back in there 2 or 3 times. They couldn't really figure out what it was causing it. They had on Sunday, many people from other places would come in, tell their stories. But what I think happened to me was the devil didn't want me going sober. And so that's why when I started reading the Book of Mormon, it didn't last. And then that was when the devil was trying to get me off the Book of Mormon. And the Heavenly Father was wanting me to read it. Because when I would pray, I would ask for help, and I tell all the alcoholics that I know the same thing. When you want help, get serious and ask the Heavenly Father to help you, and keep asking and be real serious. This is a different prayer. It isn't just something that's over and over. And until you do, you who are really bad, well, no, that's the only way you'll ever get cured. I recommend it, and for my sister says you're gonna use this for family home evening. I really enjoy that now. We've always had that, and I think before I will give up praying and reading, I just finished the Book of Mormon again this morning. I read pretty good in the morning, and I recommend that, and I pray that it works. because it did for me. And I'm thanking our Father in heaven right now that I am still sober and I enjoy my sobriety. And I hope you enjoy yours. And I say this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.